A well-furnished suburban house. Evening. The warm glow of a fireplace flickers against the walls as Ethan Reed, mid-30s, tall, with an athletic build, sits at his desk in the study, flipping through financial reports. His brow furrows, but there's a hint of satisfaction in his eyes. He leans back, stretching, before checking his phone. No messages from his wife, Lena. Ethan, to himself, smirking, guess she's caught up with work again. He taps out a quick text. Hope you're not working too hard. See you soon. Cut T.O. Lena Reed, late 20s, stunning but with an air of restlessness, at a high-end lounge. She sips on a cocktail, laughing at something whispered in her ear by Jason Miller, Ethan's best friend. Jason, early 30s, ruggedly handsome, leans in closer, their fingers grazing subtly on the table. Lena, smiling, you always know how to make me laugh. Jason, smirking, that's because I know what you really need. Lena's phone buzzes with Ethan's message. She hesitates for a second before flipping the phone over, ignoring it. Back at home, Ethan closes his laptop, rubbing his eyes. He walks into the kitchen, where their wedding photo sits on the counter. Lena in a white dress, Ethan standing beside her, beaming. He smiles at the memory and pours himself a drink. His best friend's voice echoes in his mind, Jason, who's been by his side for over a decade. They built their careers together, went through heartbreaks together. Jason, who was the best man at his wedding. Ethan's phone rings. It's Jason. Jason, VO, upbeat. Hey man, got a sec? Ethan, for you? Always. What's up? Jason, chuckling. Just thinking about how we need another guy's trip. Maybe Vegas. Ethan, Lena would kill me if I left her alone for a weekend. Jason, right. Yeah, you're a lucky man. Jason's voice wavers slightly, but Ethan doesn't notice. A slight pause before Jason quickly changes the topic. Days later, Ethan returns home early from work, a bouquet in hand. He plans to surprise Lena. As he enters, the house is eerily silent. He frowns, stepping further inside. Lena's coat is missing from the hanger. He glances at the clock. She should be home by now. A sudden buzz from her laptop on the counter draws his attention. He debates for a moment before his fingers instinctively move to open the screen. A message notification pops up. Jason, last night was amazing. Can't stop thinking about you. Ethan's heartbeat thunders in his ears. His vision blurs for a moment as his mind races to process the words. He reads them again, hoping, praying. He misread it. His hands clench into fists, his knuckles white as ice spreads through his veins. Lena's car pulls into the driveway. The sound of the engine snaps Ethan out of his daze. He quickly closes the laptop, stepping back just as Lena walks in, her face lighting up at the sight of him. Lena, surprised? You're home early. She leans in to kiss his cheek, but Ethan stiffens ever so slightly. She notices, hesitating. Ethan, forcing a smile, thought I'd surprise you. His voice is steady, betraying nothing. But inside, something inside him is already unraveling. Later that night, Ethan lies in bed, staring at the ceiling. Lena sleeps beside him, her breathing soft and steady. But Ethan's mind is in chaos. Jason's message replays over and over in his head. His phone sits on the nightstand. His fingers hover over it before he finally unlocks it. He scrolls through his messages with Jason, nothing out of the ordinary. He hesitates, then opens Lena's messages. Their usual conversations, grocery lists, weekend plans, affectionate goodnights, nothing suspicious. But then, a deleted message thread catches his eye. His jaw tightens. He exhales slowly, setting the phone down. Maybe he's overthinking it. Jason is his best friend. Lena is his wife. Would they? No. He refuses to believe it. But doubt has already sunk its claws into him. Over the next few weeks, Ethan starts noticing things he never paid attention to before. Lena's phone is always face down. She smiles at texts but never shares why. She leaves the house earlier, comes home later. The scent of cologne lingers on her clothes, one that isn't his. Jason, too, seems different, distant. avoids meeting up as often. Their usual easy conversations now feel strained. Ethan watches, observes, his mind piecing together patterns. But he tells himself he needs proof before making accusations. Then one evening, Lena says she's meeting a friend for dinner. Ethan forces a smile as she kisses his cheek before heading out. But as soon as the door closes, his expression hardens. He waits 5 minutes, then grabs his car keys and follows. Downtown, Ethan's car is parked across the street from an upscale restaurant. Through the window, he sees Lena at a dimly lit table. But she's not with her friend. She's with Jason. They lean in close, hands brushing. Jason whispers something, and Lena laughs. The same laugh that used to be just for Ethan. A sickening weight settles in his stomach. His fingers grip the steering wheel so tightly his knuckles turn white. He forces himself to keep watching, cataloging every movement, every stolen glance, every touch. His world fractures. Ethan returns home. He doesn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, he prepares. If they think they've fooled him, they're wrong. He starts gathering evidence, checking phone bills, installing a hidden camera in the house, watching, waiting. Days pass. He collects screenshots, recorded conversations, hotel receipts, proof of every lie, every betrayal. And with every new piece of evidence, his rage hardens into something else. Something cold, calculated. They stole something from him. His trust, his loyalty. Now, he'll make sure they lose everything. A week later, Ethan stands in front of the mirror, adjusting his tie. His expression is unreadable. Tonight is the night. He's planned every detail. He sent Jason a message earlier. Ethan, text, big news to share. Let's celebrate. My place. Just the three of us. Lena had been hesitant when he suggested it over dinner. Lena, forcing a smile. Just us and Jason? Feels like we haven't done that in a while. Ethan, smiling. Exactly. It'll be fun. Like old times. Lena hesitated for only a second before nodding. Ethan had to give her credit. She was a good liar. Now, standing in front of the mirror, Ethan exhales slowly. His hands are steady. He's ready. Living room. The table is set. Wine poured. Jason and Lena sit across from Ethan, laughter filling the air. To an outsider, they look like three old friends reminiscing. But Ethan sees it all. The way Jason's hand lingers near Lena's, the shared glances. They still think he's blind. Ethan raises his glass. Ethan, to friendship. And to the truth. Lena and Jason clink their glasses with his. They drink. Ethan sets his glass down, then leans back in his chair, expression unreadable. Ethan, calmly. I know everything. Silence. Jason freezes mid-sip. Lena's smile falters. Lena, nervous laugh. What? Ethan, come on. Don't insult me. I know. He lets the words sink in, watching as their faces pale. Jason sets his glass down carefully, his fingers twitching. Jason. Ethan, man. Ethan, cutting him off. Don't. Just don't. Lena shifts in her seat, her voice trembling now. Lena, it's not what you think. Ethan, mocking. Right. Because sneaking around behind my back, sleeping with my best friend, lying to my face. What would I possibly think? Lena's eyes well up, but Ethan doesn't care. Jason looks away, jaw clenched. Then Ethan leans forward, voice eerily calm. Ethan, you both took something from me. So I decided to return the favor. He slides a folder onto the table. Inside, proof. Photos. Messages. Bank transactions. Lena gasps. Jason's eyes widen. Jason, what the hell is this? Ethan, smirking. Evidence. Copies have already been sent to some important people. He turns to Lena. Ethan, your boss? Yeah. He'll love knowing his employee has been sneaking off during work hours to screw her husband's best friend. Lena's face drains of color. Ethan, to Jason, and your wife? Oh, didn't I mention? I had a little chat with her. Jason's breath catches. Ethan, mock sympathy. She took it worse than I expected. The divorce papers should be hitting your desk soon. Jason lunges to his feet, But Ethan remains seated, unfazed. Ethan, sit down, Jason. You've already lost. Jason swallows hard but sits. Lena is shaking now, eyes darting between them. Lena, whispering, Ethan, please. For the first time, there's a flicker of emotion in Ethan's eyes. But it's not love. It's finality. Ethan, softly, we're done, Lena. You made sure of that. He stands, pushing his chair back. Ethan, enjoy what's left of your lives. Because from this point on, you have nothing. Fade to black. The next morning, Ethan stands in front of his bathroom mirror, staring at his reflection. He expects to feel something. Relief? Satisfaction? Instead, there's just emptiness. He runs a hand over his face before stepping out into the hallway. Downstairs, Lena is sitting on the couch, still in the same clothes from the night before. Her eyes are puffy, face pale. She looks up as Ethan enters, but he doesn't stop. He walks straight past her toward the door. Lena, hoarse. Ethan, wait. He pauses, just for a second, then turns slightly, his expression unreadable. Lena, can we talk? A bitter smile tugs at Ethan's lips. Ethan, now you want to talk? Lena, desperate. I made a mistake. I love you. Ethan lets out a sharp, humorless laugh. Ethan, love? Don't insult me, Lena. She flinches. He shakes his head, his voice colder now. Ethan, you didn't just betray me. You destroyed everything we built. And for what? For him? Lena's lip trembles, but she doesn't answer. She doesn't have to. Ethan, I hope it was worth it. With that, he turns and walks out, leaving her sobbing on the couch. Cut to Jason's office. Papers are scattered across his desk. He's pacing, running a hand through his hair. His phone buzzes nonstop. Angry messages from his wife, calls from his lawyer. He ignores them all. Then his office door bursts open. His boss steps in, face like thunder. Boss. Jason. What the hell is this? He tosses a file onto Jason's desk. Inside, evidence of Jason's misuse of company funds, sent anonymously. Jason blanches. Jason. This isn't. Boss. Cutting him off. Save it. You're fired. Jason grips the edge of his desk, his world spinning. First, his wife. Now his job. Ethan hadn't just exposed his affair. He'd made sure there was nothing left for him to hold on to. As his boss storms out, Jason slumps into his chair, face in his hands. He's lost everything. Evening. Ethan stands in front of his house, a suitcase by his side. The divorce papers are already filed. He doesn't want this house, these memories. He's leaving it all behind. Lena stands in the doorway, eyes hollow. She looks at the suitcase, then back at him. Lena, softly. Where will you go? Ethan, anywhere but here. She nods slowly, tears brimming in her eyes. Lena, whispering, I'm sorry. Ethan studies her for a long moment. There was a time when those words would have meant something. Not anymore. Ethan, me too. He turns without another word, walking to his car. As he drives away, he doesn't look back. He doesn't need to. That chapter of his life is over. 3 months later, Ethan sits at an outdoor cafe in a new city, the late afternoon sun casting a golden glow. He sips his coffee, watching the world move around him. For the first time in a long time, he feels light. He's been rebuilding, slowly but surely. A new job, a new apartment, a new life. The past still lingers, but it no longer defines him. He's moving forward. His phone buzzes. A message from an old friend. Friend, text, heard you moved. How's life? Ethan smiles slightly as he types back. Ethan, text, better than ever. And for the first time, he means it. Cut to Lena's apartment. Small, cramped, a far cry from the life she once had. She sits alone at the kitchen table, staring at a framed photo of her and Ethan from years ago. Her fingers trace the edges, her face filled with regret. She lost everything. The house, the marriage, her job. The whispers follow her everywhere. Her colleagues, her friends, even strangers who saw the scandal online. She thought Jason would be there for her. but he was too busy drowning in his own downfall. Now, she has nothing but memories of the life she threw away. Cut to a bar. Jason sits at the counter, drink in hand. He looks disheveled, unshaven, a far cry from the confident man he once was. His wife took everything in the divorce. His career is in ruins. No company will touch him after what Ethan exposed. He glances at his phone. Another rejected job application. He downs his drink, staring at the empty glass, his reflection distorted in its surface. He thought he could get away with it. He thought Ethan was weak. But now, he understands. Ethan wasn't weak. He was just patient. And when he struck, he made sure Jason lost everything. Back to Ethan. He walks along the shoreline, the ocean stretching endlessly before him. The waves crash, steady and strong, just like he feels now. The past is behind him. The betrayal, the anger, the pain. It no longer controls him. He breathes in deeply, the salty air filling his lungs. A fresh start. A clean slate. He smiles to himself as he keeps walking, leaving his footprints in the sand. But unlike before, he's not looking back.